Hi, my name is Jeff. Hey, today we're going to set up a timer, a timer to automatically capture the amount of time we spend on a specific task. And then when we exit that task, it shuts it down, captures the time, and adds that time into a list. It's a pretty cool feature. I think you're going to like it. We're going to do some setup first. This is a cookbook, so we're going to walk it through from the start to the end. If you follow the steps and set up your environment to look just like this environment, I think you're going to find this is very simple and you can apply it to multiple things within your application building experience. So stay tuned. We're going to jump right to this. So let's set up the environment first of all. Let's take a look at the list. The list is simple. Now I have multiple things in here for other videos, but here just set up a minute, which is a number. Just set up a column called minutes and another one called task name. That's it. That's all you need. Task name is a single line of text. Okay, so you got task name and minutes. That's it. Those are two columns that you need. Okay, so that's in a list that we're using. Okay, now let's go ahead and we're going to need a second screen because what we're simulating here is that we're going to move from one screen, we'll call this one counting timer, to timer test. So we're going to move from one screen to another. Because what we want is when we select, although it's not illustrated here, when we select something from the gallery, for example, here, which we're going to do all on one screen, but let's say you have a gallery on another screen, you want to click on it, then when it goes to this screen, the timer is going to automatically start running. Okay, so that's kind of how we want to set it up. So we're going to need this, which is kind of our first step. We're going to navigate. So we just put a button in here right now just to simulate that navigation. Navigate to timer test. Timer test is right here. That's the screen name. Okay. Second thing we're going to do is we're going to build a gallery. Now remember, this gallery could be anywhere. It could be on another screen. In this example, it's on the same screen with the form and the action because it makes it easier to explain. So here we have a gallery, simple gallery. If you take a look at the gallery itself, you can go into here. This is the task name that we're doing. And then here, we're just using this standard that I use all the time that a lot of people use. We're going to set the var record to this item. We're going to reset and edit the form. So that's all we're going to do there. Pretty easy, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Okay. Again, pause the video if you need to. So here, we're going to go over to the form itself now, which is this form right here. Notice we're selected on the form. And notice that we have item, as illustrated here, number 4. We have item set to var record. Okay, so basically you click on here, it establishes the var record and navigates to the form, which is called var record and recognizes that. So that means it's going to pull all the data from anything you select on your gallery into your form. Pretty easy stuff. We've done this a million times. If you watch any of my videos, pretty standard stuff. Okay. Now we're going to add a timer control, although I don't specify it here, number 5. We're going to add a timer control. And you see that I've added the timer control here. Remember, all of these, adding the gallery, adding the form, go to here. Depending upon what version of PowerApps you're using, it may look a little different, but here we're going to add a timer form. Okay, so add the timer. That's where we are here in step number 5. We need to do a few things to the timer. First of all, notice it's not visible because I have visibility set to off. So set visibility to off and then set this to auto pause. Now, that means what happens with auto pause is if I navigate away from the screen, it's going to automatically pause the timer, even if I don't hit pause here. Okay? Then when I come back to the screen, it's going to work. And I'll show you that in real life in just a moment. Okay? And then do not use auto start. A lot of people think, well, I'm just going to do auto start. Don't. Because we're setting auto start, we're going to set right in a minute, right here. We're going to set the variables to auto start. So don't do that. Okay. So add the timer right now. You're going to add a bunch of zeros to the duration. The duration by default, I think, is 1 minute. And I think max is 24 hours. So look up what the milliseconds are equal to the maximum duration you want the timer to go. Personally, I just set it to 24 hours, although in this test, I don't know exactly what 24 hours milliseconds equals to. So I will put that in my real app. But for testing, just adjust that. So just make sure your settings look like my settings. Okay, easy enough. Now the minutes, let's go to the minutes, number 6. Here we're going to convert. So remember, we named it right here, timer test. I don't know why I did that, but I did. Timer test. That's the timer. Okay, and we're going to take this right here, this value. So you can click on there. That's not the data card, but we need to go specifically into the value, which is for minutes. So what this means is that because we're selecting this specifically, any value that appears here, when we hit submit form, is going to automatically go back to the list. So we want to automatically populate that. And the way we do that right here is using timer test, which is my timer, right down here. That's the name of the timer. We're going to get its current value, and we're going to say divide by 1,000, divide by 60, which is going to give us the minutes. Divide the milliseconds to get the seconds. Okay, so here, excuse me, get the minutes. We're going to run this just so you kind of see this in action. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to start. Now notice that it's automatically starting, and see another video I have that explains how to set this up. But see, it's running. It's no problem, right? Now let's say I pause it. It's going to automatically populate down here in the minutes. Okay, this don't be confused, because this number here says 11.5 seconds, and this threw me off for a while. I was like, my number's not right. Well, this is seconds, this is minutes. So it's 0.19 of a minute, and these are the seconds. So just realize that. But the key factor here is when we hit pause and restart, see how we restart and then we pause again? See how it updates the information there in minutes? That's what we want, okay? So that's what we're doing right here. Okay, so how do we get that on when you flip to that screen to go on like we saw, and when you flip back, how do we do all that? And this is how we do that, number 7. So here we're going to go to the screen itself. Remember the top level here, the screen, okay? I apologize, I have a lot of screens in here because this is kind of my testing power up. But here, have it set to on visible, and I want to update the context, and I want to set this variable called start timer 1, okay? And then I want to set it to false. I don't know why you have to set it to false to set it to true, but you do. And that kind of rhymed. So set it to false. So just follow this instruction. It's right here. Set to false, then set to true. And what that's going to mean, just as we did before, when we click on that navigate button and it goes to this screen, timer test, it's going to automatically start that timer for us. So that's what we want. Okay? And then here, oh, it's funny. Do I already have that link in there? No. Okay, good. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to link this timer. Okay, let's go back down here to the timer, and we're going to link it to be that start timer. So we've established this variable to be true. Now we're going to go to the start value of the timer, and we're going to go start timer 1. Remember, pause the video if you need to kind of catch up to where I am. It's all documented on this side. I'm just kind of showing you what it looks like on this side, okay? All right, now step number 9. We're going to, so what does this mean? This means so far up to step number 8 there, okay? Up to here. When we click on, let's go back. When we click on here, this is step number, when it turned visible, notice now the timer's running, okay? Because it went to visible. Now, notice here we're at like 6 seconds, 7, 8, 8.8 I think was the last one. Now watch when we go back. You got to pay real close attention to this upper part here. Boom, 8.8, 9.9. Okay, so it's automatically pausing that because we set the timer value. Remember up here, we set the timer value to auto pause. Okay, so let's continue. So number 9 here. So number 9 here, we want to start, so we put some buttons in here. Okay, we put a restart, pause, and save. So restart, if we click on that guy, notice we're just going to set that timer value back to true. So what does that mean? It's going to start the timer again. Okay, now we're going to start it. We got to set that false first. So we're navigating to the screen, we pause, and then watch, we restart. That's what we're doing right here, true. To pause, see the false right there? We just hit false, And now we turned that value right here, we turned it to false. We're going to set it back to true again. Here it is true, and it's running again. False. Okay, so we're just flipping the switch here on this variable. Okay, and then save. When we do save, let's go ahead and restart it. When we save, what's going to happen is that it's going to turn the timer to false, just like we did with the pause button, and then it's going to update the form, and that's basically what it's going to do. So let's look at the form real quick. We're at like 0.054, okay, and let's just go ahead and hit this stop. It's going to stop the timer. Notice it reset the timer, and then if we look over here, 0.054, okay, so it works. So that's how you do that. It will update the information for you. Now notice this reset as well, so next time we navigate into this form, we can go back. So let's see, remember what we did here. We set this up to navigate over, and it's going to automatically start this timer. Now when we hit pause, it's going to automatically update that timer. Remember, this is in minutes, so it's a fraction of a minute, and we're converting it from a millisecond. These are seconds. We can restart that timer here, and then when we're all done with that value, we can hit save, and it automatically will punch that data right down here, which happens to be, in this case, 0.57. Okay, almost a minute. And that is it. So hopefully that made sense to you. Again, if you want this document here, this isn't a book. Just do a search for my books out on Amazon or lulu.com, and you'll see these books. So take care. Good luck. Thanks. Bye.